Bom, pessoal, a gente está aqui no Ramp Up Tour de Floripa e a gente encontrou esse grande mestre Aaron Ross, autor de livros, palestrante e um expert em vendas. Tá? Aaron, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Again.
Again. Okay. We have three questions. Okay. And I will talk in Portuguese to our audience. O que você acha que são as principais atitudes para um gestor de vendas escalar seus resultados em vendas?
So, for a sales manager, or a sales leader, or a CEO driving sales, what I find is one of the most important mistakes they make is trying to grow sales too fast before they have some kind of process.
Okay.
Before they have both, like I would say, a lead generation process, some way to generate leads predictably, and they try to drive sales too fast before they have a sales process, right? So lead gen process, sales process. So they need to be, until they have those two things down, they need to focus mostly on what works. How can we get lead generation to work? Whether it's from content marketing or outbound prospecting. How can we get our sales process to work so that we have some kind of system? And then once we have more confidence that we have a process down that works, then we can try to grow faster. Okay. So they try to grow too fast too soon. It's like they're trying to drive a car fast with flat tires. Okay. First stop, pump up the tires before you try to speed up, or else you're going to crash.
Okay. O que você pensa da tecnologia nesse processo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we've gotten to the point where technology is so confusing because there's so many options. There's too many technologies. There's so many CRM companies. There's so many sales companies. There's so many data companies. There's so many sales apps. There's so many everything, and there's so much content. So people are confused. It's overwhelming.
Yes.
I believe that when technology is great,
Okay.
but I prefer people to start with very little technology when you're at the beginning. So either using just things like Excel or things like paper to just begin, and then add in some technology. Okay. And as you have more of a process down, as you know what you're doing, it becomes easier to know what you need. Okay. So rather than trying to start from the beginning with like all the apps you need, and it's like I don't know what our process is, but I have CRM and I have outbound prospecting software and I have too much stuff. Okay. And I start simple. Mm-hmm. So technology can be very useful, but more often it is distracting from getting the process right. So, and you never stop improving it. Okay. Even if you have a CRM to start with and it's working perfectly for today, things change. So in 3 months, in 6 months, it's a never-ending changing of how you use technology and learning how to make it better, learning how to simplify it for you and your people.
Okay. The first step is the process.
Start simple.
Start simple.
And for example, with outbound prospecting, right, with what we teach at Predictable University, I would rather people just use their Gmail to send some emails today than to go out and buy email software and then have to spend a week learning how to use it and then sending an email 2 weeks from now. Right? So it's better to start now, start simple, okay. And then as you have something working, add software in to make it better. Once you know what you're doing.
Okay. Se você pudesse dar passo a passo, step by step, para construir essa máquina de vendas, o que você falaria para o pessoal?
Actually, for early entrepreneurs, Conhecimento is probably a better book.
Oh, right.
It's really for, the first section is called Nail and Niche. And that's the part that was missing from Receita Previsível. Right? First, because you're not going to get sales until you nail a niche.
Okay.
So for an entrepreneur, though, here's the most important thing. An entrepreneur needs to do the selling themselves or be involved in the selling themselves. Rather than trying to hire a salesperson to do it for them, they need to either do it themselves or do it with someone in sales. So they need that hands-on experience in learning how to sell, even if it's uncomfortable. Like if you're an engineer, you got to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your company will not be successful unless you learn how to sell. You don't have to sell forever, but you need to know how it works.
Okay.
You need to know what your customers really care about. You need to know how they make decisions. You need to know what the steps are, what they care about, and what they don't care about, in order to hire the right person, to manage someone in sales, and to help the sales start to work.
Right.
So I made that mistake when I had a company a long time ago, before Salesforce, before I worked at Salesforce.com. I started a company called Lease Exchange, and it failed. We raised $5 million. One of the reasons it failed, there's more than one, a CEO didn't know sales.
No sales.
I didn't do the sales. I did, every entrepreneur can sell, but it's different when we're doing sales, professional sales. So when sales weren't working, I didn't know what to do.
Yes.
That's why I went to Salesforce to get a job in sales at Salesforce.com to learn sales. So, lesson learned. An entrepreneur has to know sales themselves, even if they don't want to, even if you're uncomfortable. I don't want to sell. Oh, boo-hoo. That is the number one thing you can do, is to be involved in sales. At least 10 sales. And one more point is, there's two kinds of early sales. There's the sales that come from your friends and family and relationships, right? Those are important, but this is back to read the Nail and Niche chapter, part 1 in Conhecimento, because there's this chasm, this problem to cross. So selling to people who know you is different. It's very different than when you've gotten those customers, and then now you have to learn how to sell to people who don't know you.
Yes.
So that is where you can start to grow, when you learn how to sell to people who don't know you or your brand.
Yes.
So that's where the CEO has to be involved, yes, in the early ones, but also where there's sales to people who don't know you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep, and thank you, Felipe.
Okay.